Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Semi Pro. For completely unrelated reasons, we are watching Batman 89. My name is Josh Clements, or Brit Edit.
And I am Dalton Barrett, aka Barrett Digital. It's been a long while since I've done it. I slipped up. But we have a special guest today. Our good buddy, our old chum, if you will. That's where you're
Hi,
supposed to introduce yourself.
I'm Colin. I'm here again. I did nothing to be granted back to the podcast, but I'm here. I'm having a good time. Hi.
Is this the best? Is this the best Batman theme?
I would say best, but not my favorite.
It's certainly
Yeah,
the
okay,
most
yeah, I'll go with
iconic.
that.
That's what I was leaning. I was leaning. It's probably the most iconic, maybe not the best.
I think it's easily the most iconic. Maybe next to like animated series, even.
Animated series is got to be up there too. I don't know. It's just so. I'm a huge Dan Elfman fan. Period. No matter what he does, I just really like his style. He's got the perfect mix of. I think Tim Burton said it when talking about this movie. Dan Elfman has the perfect mix between light and dark, and so I think that applies here too.
Created on characters by Bob Kane. Oh yeah, just for
Not-
reference, I'm watching this on DVD, and Dalton the boy are watching this on DCU. But DCU has not launched outside of the US, and it's really annoying.
Quit complaining.
Because I just want to watch Batman the Animated Series.
So here's a thing, and you may know the answer to this, Colin. Why didn't they commit to the 89 logo, the 89 chess logo?
I think I would guess it's because the classic oval they have here is just because it's more iconic, whereas like the 89 logo was like specific to this movie. Like if they use just like the comic logo, like it's gonna draw more eyes.
Sure. I
but
guess, but I don't. I feel like
I'm
they're close
guessing.
enough. They're gonna tear down that statue. By the way,
Oh, classic.
that was topical. I'm sorry.
Contemporary.
Thank you. It's already dated by the time this comes out. Um,
I gotta say, I love this opening so much. Like the fake out.
Yes, because you think you know what it's gonna be, and I think it's also aged well because over the past what has it been 30? No, it's been 30
31.
years, 31 years since this came out. We've seen Bruce Wayne's parents die so many times.
Bruce Wayne's parents and Uncle Ben getting shot are the two things
Right.
next to death and taxes that will never escape us.
It's just so clever to do it like this. Only Tim Burton would have thought of this.
So like I don't know. There's no way he could have thought of it like that though, because it's like he wouldn't have known that the death of Batman's parents would be so oversaturated.
Well, I don't know that he thought about it as being oversaturated. I just think it was a fake out. People already knew
Right.
how Bruce Wayne's parents died by getting shot. Like people knew that Batman's parents were dead, so I think he just thought of it as a fake out. I just think it's aged really well because of the oversaturation.
Right. It's
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so like when fairly newer fans come to this movie, they're like, oh yeah, Bruce Wayne's parents, this is the origin. But it's like, oh no, wow, how neat.
And I think people
Yeah,
went in.
I mean, you do see it later on.
Right. Is there a flashback in this one?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
spoilers for this 30-year-old movie. Because
I love this scene right here. Hold up, I just want to. This matte painting, it's the worst effect ever, but I love it so much because it looks something straight out of the animated series.
It's great.
They flash back to it because of the whole dance with them in the pale moonlight thing. Like,
Right,
you
that's
see Jack
right.
say
I
that.
forgot about that. I forgot about that whole plot point of this film.
You forgot about one of the main reasons the film's famous.
Yes,
When's,
not the line.
when's the last time we've seen this?
I haven't seen it for a good few years.
Really?
A couple months ago, I think I watched it around Crisis time, right after
Really?
Crisis came out.
See, I turn it on like every couple weeks.
See, so you watch this the same way I watch the Raimi trilogy. I watch
Oh
the
yeah.
Raimi trilogy 3 times a year at least.
I do the same thing with Scott Pilgrim.
Nice.
You simp.
I'm just looking for my Ramona flowers, man. Don't judge me. I don't know why, but this do either of you two watch wrestling?
You did what?
I
The
don't
guy
personally.
who's smoking the cigarette. Okay, I'm gonna wait a minute because the scene is so good.
It's incredible, and I've got a little bit of trivia on it when we get to that point. The cape looking like a bat, was that done before this frequently?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
It was definitely done in the comics a couple of times.
I think
right.
it just kind of depended on the artist.
I
Because like
really like.
different artists are like, oh, some are more stylized, like Todd McFarlane or Norm, and then like you have your Neil Adams, which is like, oh, it's just like a guy in a bat costume.
I really like the way that the Dark Knight did it by
Mm,
explaining how the cape does that. It was great.
right. Me and Dalton were talking about this the other day, but something I appreciate about this costume so much is like, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but like the texture makes it look like a gargoyle.
Real quick, I'll let you finish that thought. The "I'm Batman" line there was actually improved by Michael Keaton and was not in the
Wow.
original script. In the original script, it said "I am the Knight," and he changed it because he thought that sounded ridiculous. And I still agree. Like when I hear like the "I am vengeance, I am the Knight" quote, it always like makes my skin crawl because it's such a cringy line. And so I really like the "I'm Batman" line there, and it's just become iconic since then. But yeah, back onto the costume. We were talking about that texture where it feels like it's made out of concrete. But I mean, I personally think that's just the way that they made it. I don't think it was intentional, but you're right. It is a gorgeous look.
Right.
Do you know, apparently Michael Keaton was like deaf during filming just because
Yeah.
like the suit was so thick and he couldn't really hear anything through it.
Well,
And
it's
between
crazy to
that and the
think.
claustrophobia he feels, he was like, oh, it adds to my ability to play Batman because I was just constantly annoyed.
I think it's like it's the technology of like how they make these suits now, like going from even like this to Returns, like the quality shift is crazy because like they figured it out, you know.
And it's the Spider-Man thing, right? Like you watch the first Raimi Spider-Man movie, and the costume, it's good, and I like the design, but it's just such you can see in some points the webs coming off of the suit, and the lenses don't
Right.
look as good. But as they went on, they've gotten better, and now here we are, 20 years removed from that, and now it's we have really well made Spider-Man suits. But this is as far as big budgets go, outside of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, this is all you had.
Right.
And that's just spandex. Tim Burton said he didn't want to do spandex for this, but this suit is so, for not having any technology or any knowledge of how to make a suit like this, the fact that they were able to pull it off is really incredible.
Right.
Plus, I love the logo. I love the '89 logo, and I wish they hadn't done away with it for Returns.
Same.
Yeah,
Really like that little bottom spike they added.
Yeah, it's just,
Nifty.
it's so Tim Burton. It really is.
The black suit is so Tim Burton.
That's true, too.
Like
this
the
movie is just very Tim Burton.
This movie feels
Yeah,
very
no, I
Burton.
think Returns is even more Tim
Yeah.
Burton than this.
Yeah, Tim Burton. Well, Returns is more like Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton,
This is
where it's like it's more of a dark comedy than it is like a super gritty superhero action movie.
Right.
so. Why didn't they make this guy Harvey Bullock?
That's the question.
I've always wondered that
That's the
because he
question.
just kind of it just fits. Knox is also the most annoying character in this movie.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's good that they gave that guy from Crisis more roles. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's been all right.
Yeah, I mean, Knox is Knox is Knox.
He's obnoxious. He's obnoxious.
He's the
Oh,
worst.
wow.
Thanks. Thanks. I worked hard on it.
He's almost as bad as Dalton.
Probably not.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, back on the Burton thing. I think Batman Returns. So 80s Tim Burton and 90s Tim Burton are two very different directors. It's like Beetlejuice versus Edward Scissorhands. Like they're just so different. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you say that. It's also the way that 80s and 90s Tim Burton is very different to 2000, 2010 Tim
Well, we're
Burton.
not getting there. We're gonna stay away from that because that's.
You say
want-
that, but I really do love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
See, I don't. That would be an interesting discussion. I don't like especially when comparing it to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is very close to a perfect film. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about egg sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. Money sandwiches.
Money sandwiches. Can we talk about how great cast Harvey Dent, Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent pre Two Face? I don't know how he would have been as Two Face, but pre Two Face Harvey Dent, Billy D. Williams is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Just the smooth, confident, control. He's perfect.
I think a lot of people could have done it, but I do like Billy D. Williams a lot.
Yeah, I mean, who was rumored for the role? Well, not rumored, but who was looked at for the role of Two-Face?
I have no idea.
God, there was someone mentioned it to me the other day. I might be mixing up with just some other knowledge. Actually, I think I might be mixing up with the fact that Mark Ruffalo was considered for The Dark Knight.
Probably. One thing that's interesting, Robin Williams, who of course was considered for the Riddler, was also considered to play the Joker and actually went as far to have been cast when Nicholson turned down the role. Nicholson turned it down. They gave it to Robin Williams, and then when Nicholson said, "You know what, I'll do it," they said, "No, okay, see you later, Robin Williams. We want Jack Nicholson instead." So he was almost the Joker.
It's kind of
There's a
wild.
point where apparently he was watching his own performance in this film like every week because he loved it so much.
Oh, wow.
This is Jack Nicholson has said this was his favorite role.
I mean, he chews the scene.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
amazing.
He's perfect. He's the best. It's kind of the Thanos thing with Infinity War and Endgame, where you would rather watch the villain than the heroes. This is definitely one of those situations. I think.
Imagine Joker, but it's made in 1991, and it's just Jack Nicholson and Tim Burton.
Honestly, I would have preferred it.
Same.
The Golden Globe or the Gotham Globe in this has the same tagline as the New York Times, which is as much information as you can fit to print, or something like that. But they have the same slogan. That was the loudest swallow I've ever heard, and I really appreciate whichever one of you guys it was.
I guess I'll die.
I mean, okay, so me and Dalton was talking about this earlier. So, comic book movies have the trouble of trying to adapt like characters and storylines onto a movie, and that's tough because you're taking a character or storyline that's been going on for years and years and years, and you're trying to like squeeze it into a 2-hour movie. But as far as adapting characters and storylines go, I think this is probably one of the better ways I've seen it done, where you take the essence of that character and you take everything that makes that character interesting and his story's fun, and you take the heart of it and you keep that running through, but you can change whatever else you want. Like in this, it's Axis Chemicals, and obviously Joker actually has a name and a character before he falls into the vat.
Right.
But it's still iconic, and it's still easily one of the best portrayals that we've ever seen.
Right. It was Sam Raimi who said it. Instead of just telling your own story, or instead of just trying to adapt, instead of just trying to adapt the story shot for shot, or just telling your own story, you need to find what people love about your character and adapt that. Figure out the best way to tell that story in a movie, which I think is what Raimi did with his trilogy, and I think what Burton did with his two movies is just found the heart of what people loved about Batman and put that on the screen. Every detail may not be accurate, but the stuff that people love and the reason people are drawn to this character is transferred over. How weird is it that he said that line twice? Like, it's just such a weird delivery. That's all, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. That's all. Like, such an odd way of doing it. You're my number one guy.
Oh my guy.
I forget how short Jack Nicholson is frequently.
Well, he always has like tall guy energy.
Uh-huh. But
So
he right.
like him and Tom Cruise, you forget that they're actually like 5'7".
Right.
Same with
forget they're
Keaton though.
short
Keaton is like
Oh yeah, Keaton's 5'10".
5'9". Oh, 5'10".
Nicholson is 5'9". Which is actually that's pretty good. You know, when you cast two short guys as the hero and the villain of your story, you can't really tell that they're both short guys because they look the same height. Is
I mean,
this
yeah,
the
it
same-
works later on in the movie when they're confronting each other.
Right. Is this the same Wayne Manor from the other films, the Schumacher films?
It feels like it.
I
Like,
think
from
it is,
an
but
outside perspective.
I've never. The buildings at least look the same, but I can't really tell. I'd have to see them side by side.
I think was Batman Forever the first time we saw like the front of Wayne Manor with like the two horse statues.
I
by
think
the
so.
way.
I mean, we just saw the building here, but as far as the gate goes, I think that was Forever.
Yeah.
The best Alfred, hands down, no questions asked.
Oh yeah, I was going to
Oh,
say shout
yeah.
out to Michael Gough.
Who's apparently
Chad Alfred.
good buddies with the guy
The
who,
same actor who played Alfred from 1966.
yeah,
Huh.
he needs to shave his eyebrows, but that's all right. Just give him a little trim.
That's just the British people thing. We
Is it?
naturally have bigger eyebrows. It's to show dominance.
I love this. This is
I
Michael Keaton is not my favorite Bruce Wayne. He may be my favorite Batman, but he's not. He's far from my favorite Bruce Wayne. That's a toss-up between Bale and Kilmer, and I really like both of them. But this opening scene where we're introduced to him and Alfred and everything in Wayne Manor is some of my favorite Bruce Wayne stuff ever put to media. Like that little scene
really?
where
him
Because
being
I was
like
gonna-
kind of awkward and just like I don't know where Bruce Wayne is. Huh?
him and
I-
that Alfred thing, like with the pin and the tree and the drink that almost falls over, is so well timed and perfect for Alfred and Bruce.
Yeah,
Mr.
I mean,
Gordon
Keaton
gambling
came
at the
from,
party
like,
is a little
comedy
weird, but-
background, didn't they?
Right.
It's kind of what makes him perfect for this, because it's kind of it's like Pattinson in a lot of ways. It's a guy coming from an area that a lot of people don't realize he's known for one area, and he comes into it to a completely different like environment, a completely different character, and he just smashes it.
Well, and Keaton is also such a talented actor. Just because he's done comedy up until this point, his comedic timing helps out with this character to an extent that I don't think people knew at the time was going to. Because it's sort of the Bale thing. Bale's Bruce Wayne was very funny, not in an actual like he's trying to be funny way, more in just like he's oblivious to everything, and Keaton pulls that off very well.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna ask how we felt about like antisocial, like awkward Bruce Wayne versus like playboy, extroverted Bruce Wayne.
I
think
I,
both-
Because this is pretty different.
I like both. Like I said, I really like the way Bale played off Bruce Wayne, where it was all a show. I really like that. You know, being drunk in public and buying the swimming pool and all that kind of stuff. That scene from The Dark Knight is great. But I also really like the introverted Bruce Wayne here that we see, and I think Kilmer is almost a good balance of that. Because he's actually introverted, but he plays it off like he's like a public figure kind of thing.
Right.
Which is why I think Kilmer may be my favorite, but it's a toss up between him and Bale.
I love this. I love this part where they're just like walking around the armory, and Bruce is just behind them. He's just like looking at them, looking at all of his stuff.
It's also the most ham-fisted, the most ham-fisted symbolism I've ever seen. Like it's just like, okay, here are all of these masks. Did you know that Bruce Wayne has all these masks hanging up in the museum room of his house? Man, look at all
Man,
these
he must
masks.
be a worthless guy. Look at all of the. He's such a superficial man.
Look at all these masks. Do you think Bruce Wayne ever wears a mask?
Man, there's a lot of identity in this room.
Oh, wow.
I'd love to shoot you sometime.
I'd love to get an origin story on this Butler.
Yeah, is that... I've always thought that
Yeah.
was interesting. What if it's Alfred's, like, nephew? Like, come on.
What if it's his niece who goes to a British boarding school under a different name?
Oh, wow.
Interestingly enough, what's his name? John Pertwee, who was the third Doctor in Doctor Who, and whose son, Sean Pertwee, later went on to play Alfred in Gotham, was the original actor considered when Steven Spielberg was supposed to direct this movie to play Alfred.
Kind of weird how that turned out.
Isn't it? It's. I think it's fascinating that his grandson later went on to play Alfred
Right.
and did a good job. I think.
His grandson? I thought it was just his son.
Oh, it's his son. I'm sorry. That was.
I was gonna say, he must be very old.
See, I think
Yes.
Sean Pertwee is like one of the more underrated, like Alfreds.
I don't. We
I think
haven't.
he's really good.
We've never had a bad Alfred, which is great.
We haven't had a bad Alfred, have we?
Not yet, no. Okay, maybe you two can explain this. Why does Bruce Wayne have a bunch of cameras behind all of his mirrors?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because
There's no reason.
It's something that I've always questioned and never quite
Like,
understood.
I don't know why
no one
there's-
goes in the manor regularly. Like, why does he need camera?
And well, you guys are ignoring the weirdest part. There's 3 cameras pointed in the exact same direction. Like it's not like they're recording different areas. It's 3 cameras out the same mirror.
He's also snuck off just to watch it.
He's not even watched the security camera. He wants to watch the movie.
Yeah, he wants to watch the
What
movie.
if that actually happened? What if it was just like Spaceballs and he goes,
Oh.
find out what's happening next?
I love the glasses here. The Bruce Wayne glasses are great, and I think he wears them through the rest. Like even the Schumacher films, Bruce Wayne wears those glasses.
Did Clooney have the glasses?
I don't remember. I know
think he did.
Kilmer did, but I'm pretty sure Clooney did.
I
I'll
feel
look
like
that
I
up.
know
I remember a
Colin did.
shot of Clooney in the glasses. Also, I know you said it already, but man, he just looks like such a sleazebag.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious compared to the rest of the police officers.
It should have been Bullock.
It should have been Bullock. I have to assume. Oh, I mean, was Bullock an original character for the animated series?
I believe so.
In which case, I can only assume he was based off him. Because I don't see any other way.
That's true. I mean, it looks. That would be a question for Colin.
Oh no.
Was Harvey
spot
Bullock an
now,
original
boy.
character for Batman the Animated Series?
I think he was.
Well, I mean,
I want to say he wasn't,
Okay,
oh, here we go.
but I could be
Shootout.
wrong.
it's great. I love
Just
the
bullets whizzing.
old school effect The old school gun where it's just sparks that come out of the tip of the gun. It's great.
Yeah, same. I this scene's always kind of struck me as weird because so I need to try and grasp a hold of what's happening here. So Harvey Bullock tries to launch an assault on Axis to catch Jack and the guys because of the mob boss, but then the commissioner finds out, so he goes. Bullock runs off to nowhere because he's doing his job technically, but then he abandons his post, which makes it far more suspicious than if he's just stuck around. It's bizarre. I love that. This scene is so great.
It's just like a western.
Yeah, it really is. Like the bullets whizzing, even the get up's pretty western. Ah, the most iconic entrance.
I love it. I love that suit, man. It's so
It's
gorgeous.
gorgeous. I also love how this Batman, like he sometimes cares about killing people. Like this dude, he could just let him drop, but instead he hung him up.
So what I've
Well,
seen,
Batman cares about like the movie climax. He's like, "Oh, am I gonna need this guy for later? Like, is he involved in the story? Yeah, I can't kill him."
what I've seen is that it's a little more like manslaughter is not included in, in what Batman will do. So if he indirectly kills someone, it's fine. He just can't be directly responsible for their death.
I am. I can say one of the things that I love about this suit, in particular, is how often they use it to like silhouette against something and
Uh-huh.
how beautiful it looks.
And I think
Like
that's
it's iconic.
it's thick and it's clunky and it's got that Star Wars New Hope thing to it where it doesn't move right or whatever, and they've since
Oh yeah, you can't turn
streamlined
his
that.
head, so he has to turn his body.
Right. And it's like even that scene where he's walking around the stairs there, he just doesn't move like a person. And so it's like, but it's just when you factor in the fact that this is the first time they ever did something like this, it's so crazy that they managed to pull that off.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can see the inspiration in this in, I would say, almost every superhero movie since.
Yeah, I mean, even with like the recent advent of muscle suits, also you could see the wire he was swinging on just then. Like not recent advent because they've always been a thing, but the more recent reliance on them, where every superhero suit still has molded abs. That's clear inspiration from this movie.
I love this scene between him and the Joker, where he just like lets him down and just kind of stands there for a second, like he's meant to be having a chat.
I like how Michael Keaton never closes his mouth. When he's in the bat suit, his mouth is open
okay.
24/7.
This is the part I'm talking about. Bullock just runs away for no reason, then comes back for no reason to get shot for no reason.
I like that you're calling him Bullock because there's no reason.
I don't
not
remember
to.
his actual name sometimes.
It's
I
Eckhart.
know it's Eckhart because I always associate him with Aaron Eckhart, but still.
It's also the most over the top death ever.
Oh yeah, he gets acid. He gets a bullet in the face, falls over a ledge, and then falls into acid. It's beautiful.
One of the things, and it's at the same time, it's one of my favorite and least favorite things about this suit is the how thick the cowl is.
Yeah,
Yeah, like it lost some of that in Returns, and we
lost a
talked
lot
about
of
the
that in
brow and
Returns.
the thickness.
I there are design wise, I really like it. Like I like the squared off eyebrows, and I like the mouth, like the mouth hole and the ear length. I like all of that stuff more than I like the Returns cowl because the Returns cowl has a very it has a very rounded eye shape to it. Also, I love how he throws the gas bomb to hide himself and then just rises up where you can still see him. But I like the design of this one better. It's just the Returns cowl is so much cleaner. I think
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
Panther cowl honestly does a better job at fixing this one than the Returns cowl did.
Which cowl?
The Panther cowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
The Panther cowl is arguably the best from the '90s batsuits.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
and it's always a toss up for me because I really do. I think that the design versus the execution of like it's weird thinking about how they thought of this cow versus how they ended up finally using the cow.
Well, it's also it's they created the process that I mean, a different version of that process is being used today, but that process is still being used. You know,
Yeah.
like from everybody from like the professional movie industry making Batman cowls to cosplay companies selling those cowls to people, they're still using the process that this film used to make it, and this movie created that process.
Also, I just want to give a quick shout out to the most awkward date in cinema history.
It's great. There was
And it's
a
such a,
kind
it's
of
such a great like character scene to showcase the two of them like in this giant grand room, and he just goes,
Oh yeah.
"I've never been here before."
there was
That's
a
something I was trying to like lay down earlier is like the magnitude of the costume and like what it would eventually lead up to is crazy.
this scene. There
Like it
was,
just like it laid the groundwork for everything.
oh yeah, I mean there's no BVS cowl without this cowl coming first.
There's no any cowl. Without
Right.
this
There's
cowl
just no way to,
first.
to do it. Without this process, you have the awful '90s Captain America mask. That's your alternative.
Do you
you
mean
know?
the best version of Captain America?
Right. No,
Oh, the
absolutely.
best version of Captain America.
One
Man,
neat thing about this,
The Alfred talking about old Bruce scene, like the young Bruce scenes, is always so nice.
I agree.
Let me say, best Alfred.
No, hands down. We haven't had a bad Alfred. Best Alfred.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Andy Serkis.
I am too. I'm excited to see it. One thing about that scene, well, I don't even remember what I was going to say now, so it's gone. It's done. It's over.
You know what? I'm surprised you haven't mentioned yet. How Michael Keaton is actually returning to Batman.
I wish you. I just as excited as I am. I wish it were under different circumstances
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
and not under the Flash movie, because we all know that the Flash movie is not going to happen. So Michael Keaton is not actually returning as Batman because that movie will not come out.
I can't wait for the Flash movie. You know, the animated one that's coming out in 2025.
Right.
Oh wow.
Okay, so this is completely this is completely to do with the times, but I can't get over his hair.
I don't even know that it's for me. It's the wood paneling on this millionaire's walls that's getting me.
This was like Alfred's part of the mansion.
Yeah, that would make sense.
He's got like the poorer part.
yeah, Alfred, you get the poor section of the mansion.
You got wood paneling. Yeah, you can have like concrete floors. Yeah, you can sleep in the corner. It's fine.
Because even in the '90s, wood paneling was out, right? Like this is not.
Yeah, it was on
Okay.
its way out.
Gotcha.
Oh yes, yes. Here we go.
I love all of the Gotham scenes too. As it's not my favorite version of Gotham, because it's not.
It's more. It's again. It's very iconic.
It's very stylized, very Tim Burton stylized. I think
yeah.
I prefer the Schumacher Gotham. As weird as that sounds.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
but I'm
prefer
surprised
that
to hear
just
that.
because I think if you took that Tim Burton version of Gotham and threw this Batman in, or the Schumacher version of Gotham and threw this Batman in there, I think it would have created a really neat contrast and a lot of really interesting visuals.
We should also say rest in peace to Joel Schumacher.
Absolutely.
One of, an amazing filmmaker, uh, an icon. Like even if you don't particularly like Batman and Modern Batman Forever, they're iconic films, and they really laid the groundwork for a lot of superhero films in general. Again,
Also,
despite how you may argue it.
the first openly gay blockbuster filmmaker, we could
Oh
probably
yeah.
say. I don't know that, but it would be
Yeah,
worth
yeah. And he
assuming,
came
I
from
would think.
costume designing too. Like
Right.
he worked his way up from designing costumes. He made some great films like Saint Elmo's Fire and Lost Boys.
That was actually what got us talking to actually doing this commentary track, was to do Batman and Robin as a sequel to our Batman Forever commentary track. But then the Keaton news came out, and
And
to honor the
we couldn't help it.
31st anniversary of this movie, we decided to
Yeah,
do
Everything was
this.
as
kind of
we
lined
record
up.
this.
Why doesn't Bruce Wayne
Vicky
have an
Vale is
elevator?
so uninteresting. I'm gonna just put that out there.
Yeah, what is it? Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton have the best chemistry.
Yeah.
Is Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman the only good love interest in the '90s films?
I
Oh,
would
okay, who is it?
say
There's
so.
Vicky Vale, who's just kind of I forget that she's meant to be a character at times.
Then there's rip-off Vicky Vale in Forever, which we talked about was much worse. By the way,
Nicole
Like,
Kidman.
Nicole Kidman
Yeah,
is much
Meridian,
worse.
famous comic book character Chase Meridian.
Right, so much
Does he?
worse.
Oh, Poison Ivy.
What was
And
that?
then there's the one in Batman and Robin who I forget the name of. Like I don't even.
What the reporter? It's like literally girl gossip or something.
I don't know.
Gossip
She's
Girl.
just there.
XOXO. Yeah, I
Okay, we're talking over the Joker scene, which is beautiful.
Oh, cool.
love.
God, it's-
Oh,
everything about
Nicholson.
this is perfect.
Jack Nicholson was perfect for this role.
It really was. I mean, he plays it. He rides the line between psychopathic and funny just
Yes.
so perfectly.
Absolutely. He does the Shining thing. He was this is the line he was or the role he was born to play.
Yeah, I mean, he even said at some point like the Joker's humor is very kind of antithetical. Like it's stuff that should not be funny, but he still finds funny.
It's like we were talking about earlier. It's not the perfect comic accurate Joker, but it gets the essence of why people enjoy and fear that character and puts it on screen almost perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I think
mean,
it's
that's
one of
wild
them.
too.
One of the more comic accurate
Oh,
Jokers,
yeah.
if we're being honest.
Absolutely, it is.
When he becomes the Joker, yeah, everything before that is debatable.
I like the
But
purple
like,
hickey
I mean,
on
in
his
this
neck.
scene where he's like he shoots the gun and he shoots it behind it, he shoots it under his leg. It's amazing.
Uh,
You eh, you almost get the feeling that everything like J. Jonah Jameson scenes, they were written by someone else entirely.
Uh-huh.
Just the mind of a madman, which also describes Tim Burton.
Right. See, I think while it's still not that perfect comic accurate Joker. I think we've yet to see that. But like even the little stuff like that, what a day. Like that's just such a neat little, it just ties that whole scene together. I don't know, it's very fascinating. How it's a perfect storm to create this version of the Joker.
Okay, can you guys answer me this question? Because I asked about the cameras in the mirrors. What is to do with this scene
Yeah,
of him hanging
Yeah.
upside down?
I like it just because it adds to that Tim Burton style, and I love this movie so much. It's so weird.
It's so weird.
It's
and I
so
love it
weird.
So much.
Wasn't that a thing that was considered for Gotham Knights at one point, Colin? To have Tim hanging upside down like this?
oh yeah, I wanted to do that really bad.
Are you going to?
I thought that would have been a good time.
Yeah. I don't know. I know you brought over the glasses, the Tim Burton Bruce Wayne glasses.
Oh yeah.
That was definitely going to be a thing, but
Yeah.
like it was like, why'd you do this? And I'm like, but it's cool, but it's Tim Burton, and I'm like, hey, yeah, it's stupid, but I love it.
Yeah, that sums it up perfectly. It's stupid, but I love it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I love it.
There's so much. You can say that about literally every scene in this movie.
I really like the notion that the Joker is jealous of the fame that Batman has. I really love that idea. He wants
I
to
mean,
be
I've said it before and I'll say
infamous.
it again. My favorite Joker Batman relationship will always be Telltale.
Right.
I think it does it so well, but this is also like it's weird that he has that infatuation with Batman that's kind of present throughout all the comics, but it's not breaking his one rule because Batman does that about 10 times in the movie. It's just like, you're famous. I want to be that person. So they're just continually outdoing each other in showmanship.
Right. Well, it's like I want to be more famous than you, and so I'm going to do all of these bad things, and then I don't know. It's really interesting. Also, Vicky Vale put out on the first date. I just want to mention that. Just, it's just weird. It's just.
Do you know what the mob boss's wife would have been in like a modern version of this? She would have been Harley Quinn.
That's true. Yeah.
Probably, that's not a bad idea.
Well, this is pre Harley Quinn, which is also an interesting thing to consider too. I mean, this is before the animated series.
Yeah.
It predates it. It's also the only Batman film with only one villain.
Yeah, me and Josh were talking about that earlier. It's the only Batman film to date with only one villain.
I think it's better off that way.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's better for it because it's just a character study of Batman and Joker.
Do you think that mob boss's girlfriend, who then becomes, I guess, the Joker's lady, do you think she had some influence on the character of Harley Quinn?
I have to imagine so. Like the blonde hair, the sort of damaged psyche, but also obsessed with Joker.
She was actually cast solely because she was good at fainting. She was not. Yeah, she was working on the production in some other way, and then she was really good at pretending to faint. So then she was cast as that character.
You know, the Joker in flesh makeup is such a cursed image.
Yeah, I agree. This scene and the exact same scene from The Dark Knight are both done on opposite ends of the spectrum so well. I love them both.
Yeah, The Dark Knight is very understated. Like he walks in, he's very quiet, he does his stuff, and he walks out. In this one, he makes a big show and tell.
Right, and they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, and they're both great for opposite reasons.
I hated this scene as a
This trick of
kid.
having him like paint white on his face to make it look like he's rubbing away the actual
Yeah.
paint that the Joker should be wearing. It's such a tiny detail, but it's so good.
I used to do that as like when I was younger. I would put it on a napkin and then wipe it on my forehead to try and recreate this scene. I got really good at it. I like how they just murdered this guy, and the most anyone has to say is, "You're crazy." Like, he burns this man to a crisp. The skeleton is sitting there.
A crisp. Bob always looks familiar to me, and I can never ever place him.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe that's why he's his number one guy.
Yeah, he is. You are mine.
Bob the Goon is iconic.
Bob the Goon is the same guy who gives the "You filthy animal" line from Home Alone. It's the same guy from that fake movie in Home Alone. I looked this up last time I watched the movie. It's the same, the "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal," and then he starts shooting. Same actor. Wow. No, not Bob the Goon. The mob boss from this movie.
Oh, okay. The old white guy.
The old white guy. Hair. Yeah, I'm sorry. Not Bob the Goon. I messed that up. That was a great little bit of trivia that I didn't even have to look up.
Goon.
Joker, cracking jokes to this burnt husk of a man. It's so
Joker.
Comic.
It's spot on Joker.
Also, people don't talk about Jack Nicholson's Joker laugh enough.
It's good too.
Yeah, it is good. The smile makeup is uncanny valley sort of area where it looks like it should be normal, but it's just so exaggerated.
I like the idea of a permanent smile that's there from the accident. I really like that idea.
I like the fact that we're not talking about how weird this room looks.
It's all right. What about when he tightens the tie around the skeleton's neck? Is that what we're going to talk about?
Yo, you're going to make his skeletons well dressed.
Yeah. It's for his casket. You think that skeleton got an open casket or a closed casket?
I mean, I have to imagine it's closed casket.
Also, we got to talk about the large glasses of the early 90s.
Do we? Do we have
Everybody's
to?
glasses are so big in this movie. They're just so large. And then we went the opposite spectrum of that, and now we're slowly getting large again.
I mean, all I can think of in the opposite spectrum is like the Morpheus glasses, where they're like the tiny slits.
That's what I'm saying. That's where we went to, and now. So why did Bruce Wayne say he was going out of town for a couple weeks when he was literally just going to the alley to put the flowers on his parents' grave? Like, that was the reason he couldn't hang out with her, was that specifically?
I mean,
But
this is just him not wanting to date her, but he's too awkward to say.
Right.
You know, it was just a one night stand. You're looking far too much into it. I mean, I'm surprised. It's kind of like it's weird to say, but it sets up like, oh, I'm going out of town for a few weeks because I need to be Batman or whatever. But then they just kind of don't address that.
I also like that we're 45 minutes into this movie, and we haven't had to watch the Batman origin story. I love that, and the fact that this is the fourth. No, this is the fourth big comic book movie ever released cinematically, and we're not watching the origin story is mind-boggling. Because you had the first three Superman movies, then this, then Superman 4. So, or okay, this is the fifth. I'm sorry. That's crazy to me that they didn't feel the need. That's one of the reasons I think this movie is so refreshing even today, is because that formula hadn't been created yet, so we didn't follow it. Which I think,
it's fresh.
I think
it's like the Spider-Man movies now. It's like something new. It's something fresh. It's not.
Well, I think
the same kind of thing.
The first Spider-Man movie really kind of set that formula, where it's like, okay, origin story, villain shows up, villain fights hero, hero wins. It's like, I guess Superman kind of set it up, but I think Spider-Man really kind of perfected it. And we haven't seen many variations on that outside of maybe Spider-Man Homecoming and Black Panther. Even like the MCU pretty well follows that same formula. But this movie didn't, which is one of the reasons I think it still holds up.
I love how. Okay, so you just talked about Spider-Man, right? And in terms of pacing, this is moving to a Spider-Man commentary track. But Spider-Man has really good pacing because it's like you see a scene of Peter, you see a scene of Norman, and they kind of just do that until the movie meets them.
Right.
In this, I don't mean this in a bad way. It's like every scene just kind of happens. There's no, there's no like tying element. It's like he was just visiting his parents. Now he's at a press release.
Yeah.
This movie is very chaotic, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
I think it really, because this movie, more than a Batman movie, I think is a Joker movie.
Yeah.
And I
mean, you see his origin more than you see Batman's.
Right. I don't think people talk about that enough. But Jack Nicholson was the highest paid actor in this movie. I think they prioritized the Joker story over the Batman story, and rightfully so. That's what sells this movie to me. And so,
Oh yeah.
also, Bob the Goon kind of looks like Hoffman from the Spider-Man trilogy if he made much worse life choices, just by the way.
How are we not talking about Jack Nicholson's makeup of having like the tiny lip but the giant grin being absolutely terrifying?
Yeah,
I love this makeup.
it's
and the
better than
outfit.
his actual Joker look.
It's very like 60s.
If I'm not a fool, I think it's an homage to A Death in the Family, maybe, because there was like a cover where he had an outfit like this. I think.
I am going to take your word on that because I haven't seen the cover of Death in the Family in a long time.
You're much smarter than me, so I'll take your word for it as well.
Don't
That's why
take
we
my
have you
word.
here.
I'm probably wrong, but
We are taking your word, and if you're wrong, please direct all hate to Bob and Colin.
Also,
right.
Bruce Wayne gets shot in the arm. He's not wearing his bat suit.
No, he just shrugs it off.
Is he actually bulletproof?
I think he might be.
You can see, like
Punching
it
out
didn't
a
just go
TV
through
with
his
a gun that
sleeve;
shoots
it
from
went
up
through
above
his
is
arm.
Beautiful.
It's
Oh man, I love Jack Nicholson's movie so much.
he's the best part. Like I said, it's the Thanos thing where he's really the main character.
Yeah, yeah. He just like he chews the scene every time he walks on.
Absolutely.
It's such a weird movie.
Isn't it? Tim Burton was the perfect
Oh.
person to direct this Batman movie.
Well, I mean, also you have to kind of keep in mind about like where the state of Batman was in comics at this time,
Right.
because you had the '60s, which perpetuated this era of very sort of campy, goofy comics, which I'm not saying are a bad thing, but it was just kind of how the character was known throughout the '60s, '70s, and '80s. And then you had The Dark Knight Returns, which kind of brought a bit of the seriousness back to the character, and then you had this right after, which made the character very gritty, very like down to earth, very dark. And
From
that's
what
kind
I've
of been the status for the last like 20 years.
from what I've heard, Dark Knight Returns, and I'm a big Dark Knight Returns fan. Dalton knows this and he hates it.
I do, because
It very
we'll
much
get into this in a minute. But yeah, continue.
it very much like launched this movie to an extent of I think they almost made Dark Knight Returns. Like this movie was gonna be Dark Knight Returns for a minute, because that was like the really popular comic.
There was another director originally attached. Spielberg was attached at one point, and then another director, like 3 or 4 different directors after that.
I know Joe Dante was attached at one point, the guy
Right.
who made Gremlins too.
Right, and one of those directors wanted to make this Dark Knight Returns.
One of
I
the
don't-
85 directors considered to
Right.
make this movie.
Right, it's like the Flash film. But it's I don't. So personally, I think The Dark Knight Returns came out exactly when it needed to, but I think it's a very dated story. And I think all in all, while it's a good story, I think it's very overrated. It's almost like Flashpoint, like how Flashpoint has become this like the most iconic Flash story, and like sure it's iconic, but it's definitely not the best. And there's a lot of weird stuff that people just overlook in Dark Knight Returns because
See,
it's such a classic.
I'd argue the exact opposite. Like I think it's super relevant today, and we're looking at it as like a piece of literature. I think it's still great.
I think,
But anyway,
my point is, there's a
Well,
lot of
the
weird
next
stuff.
commentary is a read along of The Dark Knight Returns.
There's a lot of weird stuff in the Dark Knight Returns that people ignore, which is that's I guess my biggest issue with it. Like there's like if Dark Knight Returns came out today, in the context of like the way Batman comics are currently, people would hate it.
oh
It's
yeah,
like, okay, I'll say this. It's a lot like The Boys, the comic, right?
Right.
So The Boys show made a lot of changes from the comic. Because the comic was a product of its time in terms of its tone. It was very over the top, it was very, to put it in quote, edgy. And the series changed that a lot to make it a bit more relevant to the day's standard. And I think that's what Dalt is saying in that you kind of need to update it for the times.
And the show's not edgy at all.
No. Not at all.
You'd think the Joker would be better at cutting things out as often as he does it, but his cutouts aren't great.
No, they're just kind of everywhere. He goes for the quantity over quality ever.
Yeah, I guess so. No curved lines. It's all straight lines on his cutouts.
It's like how Tim Burton makes his movies now.
Straight lines everywhere.
A lot of straight lines and quantity over quality. I mean, did you see Dumbo and did you see Dark Shadows?
I enjoyed Dumbo more than I thought I would.
I haven't seen
When-
them,
when
but I
it was
can't
about
say.
this.
It's not very Tim Burton. It's a studio conglomerate film that Tim Burton's name was attached to. And for that reason, I like it. So Action News has appeared since this, correct?
Yeah, I think so. It's in all of like, well, depends on what you're watching. Sometimes it's like News 52,
Well, yes.
which is a very, it's a reference that not a lot of people will get. It's a reference to number 52 of the Batman comics, which invented news stations.
All right.
Is that Roger Moore on the left?
No, he looks too alive to be watchable.
That's another interesting thing. Speaking of Bond, Pierce Brosnan was offered the role of Batman in this movie, but turned it down
Everybody was
because
offered the role of that in
yes,
this movie.
Pierce Brosnan turned it down because the script was too silly. And then he later
Same
went on to
year, he
do
starred in Die Another Day.
no, it's many years before Die Another Day, but he did do Die Another Day, in which he
Die
drove-
Another Day is timeless in its awfulness.
I kind of
At
want
least he didn't do Sir Billy.
Die Another Day. I haven't seen Sir Billy yet. Die Another Day is probably worse.
Yet. We're not going to see it, Tom. We're not watching it.
I'll watch it on my own if I have to.
So, Christopher Nolan was absolutely inspired by the scene in The Dark Knight, right?
Yes. Actually,
I'd
not
say
for The
so.
Dark Knight. He was inspired by this scene for Memento.
I was watching another Christopher Nolan movie earlier, and it's similar to this in a way. I was watching The Prestige, which is basically just two people trying to
One up
like
each other.
outdo each other for an entire film.
That's actually my favorite Nolan movie.
I'm rewatching it, and I think it might be my new favorite Nolan movie.
Have you seen it, Colin?
Prestige, I haven't.
You need to watch it.
Ooh.
It's Nolan's best work, I think. Personally,
You need to watch it
Really?
twice.
You also haven't seen Inception either.
I've seen Inception.
Oh, okay, finally.
I haven't seen Inception.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah,
you
I
even
think
a
I
film
started it and I
buff,
got
bro?
bored.
Are you even what kind of film bro are you, Josh?
Look, man, I saw the Joker 5 times in cinema. 5 times.
Also,
Man, what a relatable gamer.
I enjoy I like the "Love That Joker" slogan, and I like the comic Joker face on the screen. All of those are neat touches.
I also the superimposed mouth on the dead bodies is really disturbing,
Yeah,
but also super funny.
Tim Burton, you weird fella.
what a
guy.
weirdo! What a quirky weirdo.
What a quirky little guy.
Also, they did the newspaper spin at the screen thing, which is oh, now he looks like Roger Moore.
No, you can see there's still some life in the eyes.
Yeah, okay.
Roger Moore was being piloted by someone else in the final years of his life.
I meant he looks like young Roger Moore. Oh,
I have a theory that Prince Philip is actually
there's the Gotham flag, by the
Possibly.
way, Josh, the one that I was telling you about
wait.
earlier, behind Harvey Dent.
oh yeah, I see it.
Is the Gotham flag, and it is inspired by the Indiana State flag.
I like that they have their own Oval Office too.
I think it's weird that the city, most cities don't have a flag. Most states have a flag, and that would be the spot where a state flag would go, but Gotham's not a state. It's a city. But
Gotham has so much crime that it has to be classed as a state to get past censors.
I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that in this movie, it's like New York, how there's New York State and New York City. There's
York
Gotham
City,
State
yeah.
and Gotham City.
Huh.
I think that's true. But I
That's
could
that's
also
a
be
weird
very
flex.
wrong.
Do you know, apparently Steven Spielberg was like Warner Brothers was pushing for him to be the main lead. And that would have been a very different movie entirely.
They were pushing for Spielberg to be the lead?
They were pushing for Seagal, Steven Seagal.
Ah, you
Both
said
would have been a
Steven
very
Spielberg.
strange choice.
And I was thinking, huh, what a weird
think-
choice.
Do you think that mask that his girlfriend wears had any impact on like the idea of the Joker mask itself in just kind of later adaptations?
Well, you see, Josh, Bruce Wayne had masks in his house.
Was this movie made by Todd Phillips? It's so dark and so deep.
Was this-
Intellectual. Man.
Wait. You're describing a
brains
Zack
only.
Snyder film.
Oof.
And every viewer just dropped off.
Yep, they just quit.
This
Because we
scene,
offended both parties.
Yep.
The dinner scene is so fantastic in
I
every
love
way.
I love Prince. I love it.
But the
I love Prince too. This is just Tim Burton's way of saying I love Prince.
This dates the movie. It really
I,
does.
I, it, it somehow dates the movie, but it also elevates it to the point of being better than any other movie.
Ever made. The Joker's handwriting in that the on the urgent sign, that's actually Tim Burton's handwriting.
That says a lot about Tim Burton.
Doesn't it? He wrote that though himself, which is interesting. But I think the Prince scene, while I love it, it's the only thing that really dates this movie, other than
Yeah.
a lot of visuals and things. But storytelling wise,
I
the
mean,
it's
acted
such a
reach,
weird
but
choice.
that's like technology, the effects and stuff. But like the actual choices, Prince is it's a weird choice.
yeah,
Prince
I
and
mean,
Batman is a very odd
yeah. But I love
little
the
thing.
song, and Prince for Batman is odd. Prince for Joker is not odd.
and also the
Yeah,
scene is so like Prince makes the scene something else.
Absolutely. Jack
Do
Nicholson
you know
apparently
apparently?
was he didn't want to do this scene. I mean, he wound
Yeah,
up doing it.
he's a big like art collector guy.
And yeah, and so destroying the art, even though it's all copies, it's still like it kind of like hurt him a little bit because he's such an art fan.
Oh, the only thing I remember from the scene, and I have no clue why I remember, I was watching like a great movie mistakes thing. I think one of these paintings, the one that the guy puts his like handprints all over. The next shot, the handprints aren't there anymore.
Aha, classic.
Keep your eye out. This must have been the most fun day on set.
I also really like the line that's coming up
Yeah,
in a little
this
bit.
part. The red handprints. Next scene, gone.
Amazing, amazing, incredible.
Jack Nicholson imitating that statue is the image that's been permanently ingrained onto my brain.
The line that's coming up here is one of my favorite Joker lines of all time, where he says, "What do you want?" And they played off of it in The Dark Knight, but when they say, "What do you want?" he says, "My face on the $1 bill." Like, it's kind of like the "Want to watch the world burn" line. It's like, I don't care. I'm just doing this to
Because
do
it's
it.
fun.
I'm doing it because I want to. I'm not doing it for any end game. And I love that.
Avengers Endgame? Tim Burton inspires Avengers Endgame?
Whoa. Russo brothers copied DC confirmed by Joshua Clements.
It's weird thinking about how like a modern movie would do this scene versus how Tim Burton does this
Uh-huh.
scene.
Well, because we don't do that anymore. We don't let directors make, especially comic book movies. We just don't let directors make them. And so, like, a movie like this won't happen for a long time.
Oh no. I mean, the closest you get is kind of James Gunn, maybe?
Yeah, but even then, I think he's got a lot of studio influence, more than he would like you to think.
Yeah. I like to believe that Sam Raimi's quite independent. Just
Yeah, but Sam
because
Raimi
it's
also
Sam Raimi.
he's doing Doctor Strange, but he hasn't done a comic book movie since 2007.
I don't know what kind of movie he's done since 2007. I know he produced a lot of stuff.
He did Crawl, which I
Did
really
he that?
enjoyed.
Oh, I thought he just produced Crawl.
No, he directed Crawl. He directed Oz the Great and Powerful, which is another one that people don't like that I really enjoy because I see his
I need to
fingerprints
watch
all
that.
over it. Oz the Great and Powerful is great.
That's the James Franco one, right?
Yes, that's so it works really well as Oz the Great and Powerful, Wizard of Oz, and then Return to Oz are all three made by different studios and different directors, and they make a
Yeah,
great
and Return to
triple feature.
Oz traumatized me.
Yes. There it is. That's the line. My face on the $1 bill. It's perfect. I wish it was more iconic because it's such a perfect Joker line.
Yeah, I can see why. He's just so amazing.
He
Like you could watch him literally all day.
Every scene is perfect. It's perfectly delivered. And I think that's both a mixture of it's a mixture of Nicholson's performance and the direction that he was given by Burton.
Yeah. I also like how it says she was just a sketch, and it tries to make it out like she's horribly scarred for life, and it's
Uh-huh.
just kind of a tiny burn scar.
It's the pizza scars from from the makeup in general. It's still going on today.
It reminds me of a scene in like one of the Spider-Man shows where they try and paint Kane Parker as like a disfigured, horrible human. He takes off his mask and he's got a tiny scar going from his eye, and he's blonde. And they're like, "I'm hideous." The Batman entrance that's coming up is it's so iconic. It's actually in the Arkham games.
Yeah. Okay, serious discussion. Where is the 89 Batmobile on our list?
Oh,
Um,
it's up there.
it's certainly it's once again a lot like the this I'm sorry, I have to just pause and admire the scene because it's so great and I love Nicholson so much. 89 Batmobile, it's sort of the same thing as the suit, where it's not my favorite design and it's not my favorite execution, but it's so incredible that they were even able to pull it off because it's the first time they had
Right.
ever done it. They had never built a Batmobile like this before. They had built stunt cars, but not like this. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
and so that's just it's iconic. I don't know. I do really like it, and I like the armor on it. Or does
Yeah,
the armor
yeah.
not come in until Returns?
No, what did you mean the part where like the thugs go to attack and it gets the stop motion armor?
Yes,
Yeah, that's returns.
I really like that.
Also, can we appreciate the score for a minute?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. There's also a lot of things I really like about the Batmobile, how it just drives through the street too. Because we don't see enough of that in Batman movies. Like, we don't really see the Batmobile just driving through the road often. You know what I'm
Yeah, no,
saying?
I get what you mean by that.
It's usually doing something else. Like, it's
It's
usually
usually
driving through
crushing
an
people
alley
with their
or
tires.
right or shooting machine guns at people in a warehouse or whatever. Like, we don't ever see it just driving down the road. And the
I
Tumbler
think
would be the
we're
exception.
about to get that though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also, I don't know why, but it's just the mental image of Keaton being like crane lifted out of every shot.
Yes, I love it. I also love that we see that this is a car. You know, like we
Yeah,
see the
it just
gas and the
it,
brakes and the wheels, and it's the size of a car, and like
oh
I
no,
don't
you're
know.
right. We do see the armor part in this.
Oh really? Sweet.
Yeah, I must be no. It's definitely in returns too. I
Yeah,
think.
no, it's I think it's better done in Returns, or maybe worse done. I can't remember. But I love that. That's another thing that we just haven't seen since. And I don't know if that's a comic thing or not, but I just really like
It
that.
it feels like it should have been a comic thing.
Uh huh.
Like it's not explicitly stated, but it feels like something out of some 70s comics.
This is the best. The how much do you weigh thing is great. And her lying about her weight is another one of the things I love about this movie. It's just one of those
It's got these
quirky
like
little
nice little quaint
scenes.
moments.
Yeah, these little like vignettes where she just lies about her weight and it causes the grappling gun to mess up. Like that's a thing that would really happen. Like it's great. And then him just falling to the ground.
Do you know, I remember the Lego Batman game probably more than I remember the movie.
Oh
Really?
wow. I played that
Yeah,
game so much.
same, because the Lego Batman game uses this score.
Check his wallet.
Check
I
his
like how
rubber wallet.
I like how many times Batman gets shot in this movie. It's something that you don't really see enough of now. Like Batman's usually painted as kind of indestructible, but at the same time, you never really show him getting hit, let alone taking actual damage.
I also so this is more of a product of the time because I didn't think about this kind of stuff for your action scenes back then. But him playing dead until she takes the picture to distract the thugs doesn't make any sense because he had no idea she was going to take that picture, and so he's just laying on the ground. I
I
guess
like
I'm
how,
sorry.
yeah,
Batman had prep time, so he was able to prepare for this fight.
he left a note in her pocket that said, "Take a photo
Uh-huh.
of me when I'm playing dead." I also like that this movie does the Raiders of the Lost Ark thing.
Uh-huh, and much worse than
Yeah,
Raiders
much,
does.
much worse. I can't get over how long Batman stands there with like the fight pose.
There's no way
He's
that's
just
not a
like,
mannequin when you're looking at the back shots of him. There's no
no,
way.
no, no chance.
And then yeah, I don't so there's a lot of stuff about this that that's probably going to be my biggest complaint is the fight choreography. And I know
Yeah,
that's clearly
it's
a
a product of
limitation at
its
the
time
time.
frame.
And the suit also just doesn't allow for that. There's no way to do fights in that suit. Which
Wait, you
is
can't turn your head.
right. That's the thing Rich Evans pointed out of Red Letter Media. You know, you expect Batman to be a ninja, and he can't even turn his neck. So it's like that aspect of the character is gone. There's no aspect of that for this character. And so that is a downside, but at the same time, it's such a good stylized, great told story that I really don't care.
You know, in the Flash movie, that's not happening. Something I'm interested to see. So if he apparently he's playing the '89 version, but he's also not, and he also isn't, but he's going to be the main part that's confusing.
He's also
But
replacing Affleck apparently, but he's
he's
not.
also, but he's not replacing Affleck. Pattinson's in a separate universe, but he's also the future of the franchise. One thing that I'm looking forward to is they kind of perfected the looking rubber cowl, but neck turning with Affleck.
Uh huh.
And I'm interested to see that, but applied to this Batman.
Right.
No, I'd honestly rather him keep the stiff neck.
See,
It's almost part of the character at this point.
It's just
yeah,
iconic.
I really like the statue pose and the stiff neck, especially for this Batman. I don't know. It does limit your fight choreography, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you
But
can
they
you
can
check
shoot
it out.
around it
People won't
now.
get too mad.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you look at Batman Begins versus The Dark Knight, also have no idea how that rock works. Just by the way, no clue.
No, you just
whatsoever.
drive through
You
it.
just drive through like he hit it. There's no
Yeah,
the score
like,
here
you see it
is
cool
also
down in the shot when they look back.
Uh-huh.
It did not move up that
Uh-uh.
fast. Their heads are gone.
that theme playing there is beautiful, and it's one of the reasons I love Dan Elfman because he can do stuff like that that's absolutely incredible. But yeah, I see what you're saying where it's part of this version of Batman's character. But even if you compare Batman Begins to The Dark Knight, like the fight choreography got so much better in The Dark Knight just because even the stuntmen could now turn their heads, you know?
Right.
There's fight choreography in Batman Begins.
Also, I like that he keeps one bat in a cage while the rest are allowed to roam free. Like just one. You have to
No,
stay
it's
in
a
this
that's
cage.
bad. He keeps misbehaving.
Oh, he's in timeout. Is that what you're saying?
He's in timeout. This one specific bat is in timeout. He's like, no, I don't like you. You're gonna sit in the cage, but your friends can roam free. They're fine.
Yeah, no, they're fine.
This isn't a very accurate portrayal of Batman. We're Bat Cow.
No, he just has bat.
You know, I wonder what gave them the idea of like the scallops at the end of the cowl. It's
I don't know,
really
but I love it. It's the best part of the suit, I think.
right.
I love the eyes on it. The eyebrows, sorry.
Yeah, I also love the eyebrows.
This shot where it's the light on his eyes specifically is so gorgeous.
Yes.
Like it's classic like noir lighting.
You know,
And I
it
love it.
almost looks like white eyes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Keaton has such bright eyes that they almost look like the white eyes anyway. They also hadn't quite figured out the eye black yet, so it's almost like too light. It's not dark enough.
Also, again, with the cow being too thick, it looks like there's a bit too much room in there.
Uh-huh.
Like it's probably useful if you've got an itch on your face. You could probably reach in around that eye and just
Probably not really. It just looks like you would be able to. He's also got Listerine. I mean, I get it's the products he's researching, but they're just sitting there on his tiny little bat desk.
The bad desk.
the bat desk. Oh, the bat bed.
So when he pulled his cape, did he just punch Vicky Vale in the face and
I'm
knock
gonna
her
assume
out?
so. Well, no, he punched her in the gut first because
Well,
they don't.
you know,
Tim
as-
Burton doesn't really
as Sean
dive into
Connery
this.
said, as Sean Connery said,
Sometimes a
hitting
woman
a
just
woman
needs
is
to go
okay.
slap.
Oh, just open hand, not closed fist.
But yeah, Bruce Wayne actually got Vicky Vale pregnant that first night. And so Batman had to punch her in the gut and then knock her out and erase her memory. Was that too dark for the podcast? I'm leaving it in. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. We're about to talk about. We're getting to the best scene in the movie.
Right.
Batman cracks Joker's poison code. I like how he did this, but this is one of my favorite things. They don't elaborate. Like a modern movie would focus on this aspect.
Uh-huh.
In this, they just go, "He did it." You don't need to see how. You don't need to see.
No. Well, no, he had
had
Listerine on the
up
bat
his
desk.
computer. He looked at the ingredients for Listerine and found out what was the poison.
I like Joker shooting the TV. Great little detail. Beautiful little note.
Also,
And then
spoilers,
Bob-
but Joker shooting Bob the Bob gun. Iconic.
I like this Batcave a lot too. It's a whole lot simpler than the Schumacher Batcave or even the.
I think it's my favorite Batcave like ever.
It's the most cave-like.
Yeah, and I like the pipes in the wall. I think it's up there with. I really like the Dark Knight Rises Batcave where it all comes out of the ground, and with the water and like I really like that one. But this one's up there too.
Oh, here we go. We're getting to the best scene of the movie.
Oh yeah,
I'm so excited for this.
I am too.
Everyone knows the line coming up. It should be the tagline for the new Flash movie.
Honestly,
Oh, that would be
Flashpoint: Want to get nuts?
Nuts. Let's get nuts.
I wonder if that was improv.
I wouldn't
I
think
feel like
so.
this whole movie was improv.
The delivery is definitely improv, and I think it comes from
his comedic background.
right his comedic
Yeah.
background. But I'd say the line was written. Also, what's up with Vicky Vale's one braid on the side of her hair?
Yeah,
She's got like a Jedi
That's like Anakin
Padawan.
Skywalker.
Yeah,
She's trying to be a.
right.
At some point, we got to watch episode 2 because there's parts in that movie that are so incoherent that I need help to understand them.
I love that.
And
Bruce
by that, I
Wayne-
mean I need to see a therapist and ask why.
right. I love the Bruce Wayne shoving her down and telling her to shut up, like all that. It's great.
It's very Bond.
Very much. I'm picturing Pierce Brosnan doing that right now, and it would have been perfect.
I also love how he's wearing like 8 layers of clothing.
That being said, Pierce Brosnan can't do an American accent to save his life, so I'm really glad that he was not cast in this movie.
I love how much trouble he's having to like try and tell her I'm Batman without it sounding completely insane.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like he's trying to justify being Batman.
Well, and it's also, you have to assume this is the first time he's ever told anyone.
Anyone, yeah. Outside of like Alfred, and Alfred helps him train.
Right.
I always love how she's just like, I don't know what you're on about. You
Uh-huh.
are an insane person. Please get out of my
Right.
home.
Right. It's a great scene.
You know what? This scene, I don't know why, but the thing that pops into my head is the Andrew Garfield Gwen Stacy scene from Tasman,
Yes, except for
and how that's just like them going, "Hi, no, 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 no," for like 20 minutes. Oh, here we go. I'm so I'm so excited. I'm like
no,
the
me
edge of
too.
my seat.
Me too. It's the best line of the movie. Him mouthing it is great too. Also, how weird is Vicky Vale's apartment?
Yeah, it's. I like that she has a bulletproof silver tray.
Uh-huh. That's my favorite part. And somehow, some way, Bruce Wayne knows that it's bulletproof.
He dots for it. Like an idiot. I like how everyone
He knows
where-
exactly where Joker's gonna shoot him.
Uh-huh. And it's the smallest tray too. Like it's so tiny. I always in my head I always forget how small it is and I picture it as bigger and then I watch the movie and I'm always surprised at how small it is. She's also got stale
Imagine if you
popcorn
just
sitting
shot
on her
Bruce Wayne in the
fireplace. Just a bowl of popcorn sitting stale on her fireplace.
Imagine if we just shot him in the head. Like that's it. That's the movie.
Uh-huh. That's done.
Oh, man. I feel like all of Jack Nicholson's dialogue was improvised too.
Had to have been.
Just
Probably not actually. But
at this point, I'm convinced that Jack Nicholson just painted himself like this, and Tim Burton's like, keep rolling.
Jack Nicholson was actually the Joker didn't exist. It was created for this movie. It was because Jack Nicholson stumbled on the set one day and he just looked
You
like
know,
that.
Bob the Goon wasn't actually cast in the movie. Jack Nicholson just brought this guy on set, and everyone's like,
Yeah,
he
he's
just
pretty good.
filmed around him.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You're my number one guy.
You know, there's actually this isn't even a movie. This is like found footage of like Jack
It's a
Nicholson
documentary.
going
It's
It's a
about his
documentary.
day.
Tim Burton wanted to make a Jack Nicholson documentary.
Yeah, let's just record him going about
All of
what
the
he's doing.
suits, like the bat suit and the Joker design, that was all done in post.
Oh, here we go.
Here it comes. I'm so excited. I'm trembling.
I'm like holding my breath.
Why does Vicky Vale have this picture of a shirtless guy sitting backwards painted on her above her? It's great.
Is she also a millionaire? Like this apartment is kind
guess.
of wild.
I just
Oh, here it is.
Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Oh. It's perfect.
I
And it
want to
doesn't
know. I want to know what his plan was.
it also doesn't make sense. The line doesn't make sense. He doesn't set that line up in any way. He doesn't set up do you want to get nuts? He just he just does it.
It's just you want to get nuts. Let's get nuts.
So let's talk about Bruce Wayne's plan.
So So he grabs the fire poker. No, he grabs the tray, slips it under his shirt,
Uh-huh.
then walks around, grabs the fire poker, picks it up, threatens Joker, and then hopes that Joker will shoot him and be distracted by Vicky Vale to get up and dive out a window. Prep time. It's the same.
Prep.
Prep time. People say Batman could beat Superman in a fight.
Can you imagine that? It's Batman and Superman. Superman's like gearing up the laser rifle. He just goes, "You want to get nuts? Let's go nuts!" And Superman lasers him, and it bounces off his chest.
Because he's got a lead tray. A lead
He's
drink
got
tray.
a mirror beneath his chest.
Oh. Man, that would have been incredible. That's what they should have done. You want to get Martha? Come
Do
on.
you guys
Let's
ever
get
wish
Martha.
that that Christopher Reeve Superman crossed over with Keaton's Batman?
Not
Okay, can we talk
particularly.
about the flowers too? I never understood why that knocks her out.
I think they're supposed to, or she fainted because she was freaked out, or
I'd be more freaked out by the fact that a psychopath broke into my house and shot my day.
right. Do we ever find out why Joker had such a fascination with Vicky Vale, or was it just coincidence?
Um, I'm trying to think. I, I can only assume. I'm trying to make up a reason as to like, oh, he knows that she's with Batman, but he doesn't because at that point, her and Batman haven't met.
Right. He doesn't meet. The thing with her and Batman doesn't happen until after her and the Joker have dinner, so it's a weird coincidence.
Coincidence. Yeah, I like that they kind of introduced the origin over halfway through the movie.
Right. It's great. And I also really like the idea of Joker killing Bruce Wayne's parents. I think I wouldn't want it
I'm
done.
like 50-50 on it.
I wouldn't want it done in any other. I wouldn't want to see that done again. It was neat for this one time.
Yeah, as an Elseworld story, sort of what if idea. I like it.
Also, talking about the suit design again, this one versus the return suit. The return suit, the logo is actually part of the cowl, and I thought it was for this one too, but apparently it's part of the torso of the suit.
Yeah, I thought that too. I'm thinking about it now. I guess the cow goes like around the logo,
Yeah, or
and
it could be
then
both. That could just be a display suit too.
well, I mean, they never anticipated taking the cowl off the suit.
Right.
That's why in Returns, when he takes the cowl off, he like rips it off, and it just looks really
Uh
spandex.
huh.
Because they never, I don't think they ever wanted him to be cowless while wearing the suit, so they just never thought about it.
Also, really quickly, this does not make any sense. What is happening right
No,
now?
the
None.
Joker's a Joker here, and the guy turned to his left as if Joker was literally right next to him.
Uh huh. And
He-
they're on different channels. So if this was
But
actually
also,
happening,
also the guys running this are like, we've got interference after the Joker starts talking, as if
uh-huh.
he's not been sitting there for 5 minutes.
Right. Well, and hypothetically, they're on different channels. So you would have to be flipping back and forth to see them talking to each other. So, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, just this movie is like it's like looking into a madman's
Yeah.
head,
I
which is true of Tim Burton.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Candyman from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Could you imagine Johnny Depp as the Joker, like
Uh,
for this?
He would have been too young at this point.
I forget how old he is. I feel like he looks older,
Yeah.
or he looks
This movie's
younger. I
also
don't know.
30 years old, so he would have been
Yeah,
like
I mean for this
he's
idea of the
what,
Joker.
in his 50s? He would have been in his early 20s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
I mean, he probably could have pulled it off. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it'd have to be a different version. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to do the Joker killed his parents thing. Which I'm not gonna lie, for years I thought that was just like Bruce thinking that in his head. Because the guy that they got to play Jack Nicholson, but younger, does not look younger than Jack Nicholson.
No. He also doesn't look like
Jack
Jack
Nicholson.
Nicholson.
I feel like it
He
would have just
really
been easier
doesn't.
to put Jack Nicholson there.
Yeah, absolutely it would have. Put some makeup on him to make him look a few years younger. And hide his face in shadow.
There's so many reasons. Like, okay, we all love this film to death. Colin, it's your favorite Batman movie, right?
It's my favorite Batman movie.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, it's easily one of my tops. But there's so much to it that I love because it's like watching a David Lynch film where everything's so insane that you just kind of have to accept it.
I like that it's just such a strong vision from one guy. Like
Yeah.
that's I love that. Let me rephrase. I love that when it's done well. when that's done poorly, it's not good. But I love that when it's done well. And this is a great example of that done well because, like, Batman and Robin is a great example of a movie where it's one person's singular vision, and that's a movie where it's not done as well. But yeah, I think this movie does it perfectly. It toes the line between, gothic noir, and it's a beautifully crafted film. But like you said, it's like trying. It's a madman made this movie. Tim Burton, being an insane person, decided to make this film, and I think he did such a great job. Is this the ending?
As far as okay, so where does this rank in your Batman murder scenes?
I think that when Joker is shooting, the gun should have been. I think that
Longer.
the pearls should have been around the back of the gun in a way that
In
wouldn't
slow
make any
motion.
sense whatsoever.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This guy has a much better facial structure for Joker.
Uh huh.
Like very thin, very gaunt.
This guy would have worked when Willem Dafoe was supposed to play the Joker as
Yeah,
young
yeah. He
Jack
looks more like
Napier.
Willem Dafoe. That's it.
Yeah. Just so you know, Willem Dafoe was considered early on to play Jack Napier in this film.
A couple of actors were considered. Willem
Yes.
Dafoe. John Lithgow was actually cast at one point.
Right, as was we talked about it earlier. Robin Williams.
Yep.
Are we gonna ignore Batman and his Levi's?
I thought you were going to. He's going for a very Steve Jobs look there.
Don't all of the '90s Batman actors have this same outfit with the turtleneck and the glasses?
That's how you know they're the same person.
Right.
Watson.
That's the only way you know they're the
How
same
are you meant
person.
to tell?
Also, Alfred just ratting out on Bruce like that. Like,
Alfred just drops her off and then dips.
yeah, if I were Bruce, I would have fired him. Thanks, Alfred. You're fired.
Alfred, there's a reason I didn't tell her. Please leave the premises as soon as possible.
You do not have the liberty to spill my beans like that.
So, something that I didn't tell either of you guys later earlier. Tom Selleck was considered for the role of Batman.
I like it. A young Tom Selleck could have pulled this off had he shaved his mustache.
There was a lot of actors.
Could you imagine?
Sly Stallone. Kurt
Could you
Russell.
imagine this Batman cowl, but with Tom Selleck's mustache peeking out?
Do you know it'd be like when JJJ ties on the Spider-Man suit in
Uh-huh.
Spider-Man 2.
Exactly.
It's just he's got the cigar, he's got the mustache, and he's going flip, flip, flip. But yeah, so like I mean Harrison Ford, Ray Liotta, John Travolta, Bruce Willis, Mickey
What a
Rourke.
suit.
The
Oh, there you go. That's the shot. That's the good stuff.
absolutely. It's just such a great suit. His eyes illuminating before the rest of his body is such a perfect way to do it too. I don't know.
I know a
Machine
lot of people
guns,
have
there we
an
go.
issue with this thing, kind of following the controversy of like BVS.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, if you're unaware of it, a lot of people criticized Batman vs Superman for having like direct murder, where Batman just shoots people straight up,
Right.
and in this scene he literally blows up a warehouse.
Right.
Full of people.
Yeah, just full of people. But you don't see any of them die.
It's true. Once again, it's manslaughter versus direct murder.
Oh yeah, so yeah, famously, Tim Curry was meant to play Joker, but apparently he was too evil.
Right. Which is
That would've been
interesting
good.
because now
It makes me wonder what it would look like.
probably would have looked like Pennywise from the original It film.
But did you know that Jeff Goldblum was also apparently in talks at one point?
Interesting. I just I don't know if he's the right person to play the Joker. That was my Jeff
Yeah, I
Goldblum
mean, like the
impression, by
things
the way.
there was a whole bunch of like names like uh, Alan Rickman, Robert Englund, John Malkovich, Christopher Lloyd, De Niro at one point.
Robert Englund would have been fantastic.
Yeah,
I
Robert
don't.
Englund would have been great.
While I think so, I still don't think you can top Nicholson.
Well, yeah, I was about to
No.
say like all of them are really great choices. I like England specifically because I'm kind of a fan of schlock, and I really like the later Nightmare on Elm Street films where Freddy is basically the Joker and he just cracks one-liners before killing people.
Right.
But none of them have the eccentricity that Nicholson has. Like he draws you in, he makes you believe that he's just a fun guy,
The
and
fact
then he'll stab you.
if I read that IMDb page where we got all our fun facts from, and it said he just walked on set one day dressed like the Joker, and we just put
I
it in the
believe it.
movie, I would buy it. I would believe it. Like if it said
So-
100% of his lines were improv, I would believe it because he's that perfect for this role.
He really
He
is.
just sells it
like
that
I
much.
don't see where Joker ends and where Jack Nicholson begins.
Which I don't know if that says more about how good he is as an actor or how
How insane!
how
he is.
insane he is as a man.
Oh man! Apparently, I'm just kind of looking up some casting. Apparently, Steve Martin was turned down the role of Knox,
Interesting.
which I mean that would have been. I think Knox probably would have been a bit more likable,
Right.
but
Why is Knox the one that they chose to bring over into Crisis? Out of every character from this movie, why
because
is
the only
Knox?
one
everyone
they can
else
get.
turned down their calls.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean, let's face it. Okay, so Kim Basinger, I don't know what she's doing. I think she switched off from society. Nicholson's not returning their calls. He's too busy in therapy or something.
He's dead.
Probably.
I meant to say Miles Go is
Keaton-
dead, but that's fine.
Since Birdman, Keaton's gone through a renaissance and he's actually an actor now.
Right. And a good one.
And then-
Very good actor.
Yeah. I mean, who else you got? Bob the Goon? He doesn't make
Bob the
lots of
Goon's
sense.
dead.
Yeah. Oh, the Batwing though.
Yeah, some of the effects for this parade are very dated, but at the same time,
I mean, the Batwing looks.
the
See,
Batwing looks
everything
great.
in this movie that's dated, I like because it plays into the style.
Sure,
Yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
specifically about some of the matting of the actual parade.
Yeah,
Um,
but I just mean like I can buy it. Like
Yeah,
it's
well-
not great, but I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll buy it.
Yeah, like,
Even the Prince
it's
song.
not great, but it's what it needs to be.
I'm always bothered by the dollar on Joker's hat.
I saw it land there, and I just kept on waiting for it to get blown away.
I like that Joker finally got his face on the $1 bill, but nobody's noticed yet because they haven't done that. Like they haven't shown it. Nobody's noticed. People are just not looking at these dollars.
I mean, to be fair, the people of Gotham believed that a guy who has been shown to be a psychopathic killer was just going to give them free money.
well, that's a good point.
So, at this point, I think it's just Darwinism.
One thing I think is underrated is all of the watermelon colored toys that Joker has.
Oh yeah, the purple, orangey, like neon orange.
Yeah, neon orange and green. A lot of his things are that color, which is interesting because there's no reason for that to be the case. But he's just got watermelon things. Here's another
I've got to
very
say,
dated
a lot of
effect.
Nicholson's lines there should be iconic. Like you said, I want my face on the $1 bill.
Uh-huh.
What's it? Like my plastic surgeon says, if you gotta go with a smile.
Right. That's just
They're
another.
such just Joker lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that shot of the one person trying to like cover their face with the money.
Uh huh.
Man, is this 2020?
That was good. I liked that one. This is another well shot scene too. It's another one of those that's just very chaotic. Also, it takes. Does Bruce Wayne not live in Gotham City? Why does it take him so long to get there in the Batwing? He's literally in a
He's
plane.
got there. Like, they showed him flying over. He's just like flying around now.
Right.
Right. I mean, like, the scenes are great. 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 Like, the scenes are He's waiting until it's dramatic because that's all Bruce Wayne is in this version.
The miniature set, I really like the floating baby too, but the miniature set for Gotham City here with the Batwing flying through it is so incredible. It's
Yeah,
one of,
no, it
I
really
think,
is.
probably one of the best miniature cities I've ever seen.
Yeah, no,
Just in general.
you believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a sucker for a good miniature, though. Like anytime
Yeah,
I see a good
you
miniature
can't beat it.
set, it's really hard to beat a good even as great as CGI has gotten, it's hard to beat a good miniature. And a bad miniature
I
is funny. A bad miniature is funnier than bad CGI. So I wish
I
we would
like
just go
that
back to miniatures.
Knox just took off his mask and it doesn't affect him
Uh
whatsoever.
huh. None.
You
Because
know,
he's
a good
an absolute unit.
Well,
Knox.
Nox is actually he's a superhuman.
I want a
Knox
Knox Bob the
Knox is
Goon
just
team up movie.
the code name for Clark Kent.
They could have done that if it were today. If this were
They
Batman
would
v
have done that.
Superman, they could have totally done that.
I uh I like how every shot Keaton's using the full extent of his mouth.
Uh huh. His mouth never closes.
It doesn't.
Him
Well, when
saying,
it closes, it just makes that really weird shape.
yeah, I think the cowl was probably pulling on his.
Well, one thing, like, I'm not usually a fan of it, but one of the things I think could have improved this cowl is a chin strap.
Uh,
I'm gonna have to pass on that one, Chief.
yeah. I
I
never
like it how
liked
it
the
is.
I
It's
never
been a
liked
good
the chin
podcast.
strap.
I'll talk to you guys later.
I never liked the chin strap on Batman, and I especially don't like it here.
I don't mind it if the actor's got a good jawline, and I don't mean this against Keaton. Oh, by the way, an F in chat for my man Bob.
Yeah, absolutely. He does really look like Raimi's brother, Sam Raimi's little brother. What's
Ted.
what Ted? He looks a lot like Ted Raimi, and now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
I'm surprised that the Monarch Theatre shows up multiple times in the movie.
Yeah, it's a great little detail.
Also, the Batman against the moon is
Yes, absolutely.
so
Another
Mwah.
a missed opportunity is not having the Batwing be in the shape of the '89 logo, being in the shape of the normal Batman logo.
That would have been neat.
Yep, it's just another missed opportunity, but that's all right. It's fine. It's fine.
I love how many weapons this Batwing is like fitted with. Like, he's got machine guns, he's got missiles.
I love how he put the scissors in the front of it, specifically equipped for this specific situation.
Yeah.
People talk about Batman and Robin for having the ice skates.
Okay,
Like,
I think
this Batman
the
will do it,
scissors
too.
make sense. The scissors make sense to have in that spot on something like this because if you're like flying through trees or something, you could use it to cut down those trees as you're flying through.
Batman flying through trees.
Hey, Gotham City has trees.
God, I've never
Use the
seen a tree in
force,
Gotham
Luke.
City.
Use the force. This is the equivalent to the hit me scene.
Yes, absolutely. Except for
This is the same scene.
The gun that Joker pulls out makes me laugh every time.
once again, this is Batman blatantly trying to murder the Joker.
He just fails because his weapons misfire.
Uh-huh. But it's fine because this is a good movie. Batman can kill in a good story.
The Batwing like crashing down. It looks fantastic.
It's such a great miniature. It's
Yeah,
oh,
like when you see the cars, you can kind of tell a bit because they look like toy cars.
yes, absolutely. But other than that,
When it's like sliding through the street, it looks great.
miniature fire is really hard to do because the flames look so much like the
Yeah, it's like fire and water are hard to do because
Right.
the scale of something actively affects what the effect is.
and they did it flawlessly. It was great, except for the cars, like you said. But the speaking of scale, the scale of the Batwing, I think, is something they could have done better because it seems to be
It
a
looks a bit
different
small.
size every time you see it. Like it looks much smaller here now that she's opening it.
the Joker's tongue is like out in every scene.
Imagine how
I,
uncomfortable.
yeah, I mean, I've always wondered how they did the prosthetics because it looks the way it looks kind of like normal, but not.
Right. Which is one of the reasons I mean, that's one of the things I like. I really like the makeup. I know it's kind of an unpopular thing, but I really like the way they did it. I think they, especially given the time, and they just did it in it's really unique. And like I said, we'll probably never see a Joker like that again. So it's just another one of those things that's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where the next Joker goes. Like whether they'll go kind of more like this comic accurate route, or if they're gonna take a bit of inspiration from Phoenix and Ledger and kind of go more makeup inspired.
If I had to
That said,
guess,
you could do both.
right? If I had to guess, Matt Reeves doing it, it's gonna be the more realistic take.
Well, I mean, you could have someone's mouth formed into a permanent smile and then have them just put white makeup over the top of it.
The tone I'm hoping that we see from the Matt Reeves trilogy is this. I want to see the Batman 89 tone. I think it's a really good balance of like the over the top silly stuff with like the super serious Nolan stuff. You know what I'm saying? This movie
Yeah.
rides that line really, really well, and that's where I hope Matt Reeves' film operates.
Well, I mean, we've got the DC Fandom event coming up August 22nd, I think it is, and
Also, the
I think
Joker's
it's
got
almost
a.
guaranteed we're going to see some Batman stuff there. I'm
Yeah,
guessing a poster and a teaser trailer.
I don't think we'll get a teaser trailer. I don't think we've filmed enough yet. We may get a poster and a first
Well, when I
look.
say a teaser trailer, I mean quite literally just a shot of like Gotham and Batman walking up to the edge.
I think we're gonna get our first real look at the suit. At least I'm hoping so. Because all we've really seen is the set photos and the test footage. We really haven't seen the suit yet.
Yeah, well, apparently, Zoe Kravitz said that we would have gotten a Catwoman reveal had coronavirus not postponed the filming.
Ah, neat.
So,
Speaking of
and they
Catwoman,
may be filming from today, according to some reports. So who knows?
Colin, you'll find this fascinating. Vicky Vale was originally supposed to be played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who was dating Michael Keaton at this time.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah,
Were they dating when Returns was made?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
That's
a bit more
awkward.
interesting.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
that's
that's why
why
Burton
Michael
hired her.
Keaton. Well, that's why Michael Keaton didn't want her in the movie. He said, I don't want her in this movie because it's going to be weird." And then I think when they weren't dating, it was less weird for him. But
They're
yeah,
all falling through the tower, so just
absolutely.
perfect. Everything in this scene, I think this finale as a whole is kind of perfect.
And it was supposed to take place not in the church, but just on one of the streets in Gotham. But they wound up moving it to this church very late in the script writing process.
I think it's better after that. I love this whole church
Absolutely,
bit.
absolutely. Also, another great miniature with the bell falling through the stairs. One of the things I both like and hate about this scene is it seems very inconsistent how far up the stairs Bruce is. Like you
Yeah.
never can
Yeah.
really tell, but I think that adds to the suspense of the scene because you don't know where he's
Oh,
at.
yeah.
Like you don't know how close
You-
he
you-
is to Vicky Vale.
You could argue that's on purpose because
Oh, I would say so.
That's done. Like it also kind of adds to this feeling of never-ending stairs just continually going up,
Right.
which gives this a much like it makes this seem much higher than it actually is.
You know
There's the Captain Kirk thing again with the eyes.
yeah. It reminds me of the 90s Ninja Turtle suits. For some reason, like this thick rubber cowl with just the eyes moving back and forth reminds me so much of it.
So, in a modern movie, who would this guy be?
I don't know.
Deathstroke. That's who.
No, that's too mainstream.
Clock King.
There you go. Also,
I
what
always
is
find it weird.
He just has a break that comes out of his hand.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just laughing at the dude who jumps from up top and just
Uh-huh.
goes straight through the floor.
Uh-huh. This is
I like that they show that Batman's not a complete winner. Like this one goon just completely destroys him.
yeah. Which, I mean, Batman in the comics has become too overpowered, I think.
Yeah, everyone talks and jokes about prep time, but it's like you don't see Batman lose a lot, which is kind of it's
Because
one
Batman
of the parts
fans
of his
hate to
character
see
I like
Batman
more.
lose. They can't
See,
stand
that's
Yeah.
what makes Tom King's run so interesting. Is he kind of like, I don't know, explores the dehumanization of like
Yeah, you've
all
got
of
this
that.
is a character that his most interesting aspect is that he's human.
But yeah, he's human, but he just keeps pushing on.
Right. And that's what this movie does so well in exploring. Where even I think a lot of like even BVS, and I think Batman is the best part of BVS. It's very disconnected from the human aspect of Batman. You know, he's very much like he's above everyone else, and I really like this movie for leveling that out a bit. Like he's
Yeah,
not, and I don't know that it's really to credit this movie. That's just kind of how Batman was at the time,
he's not perfect.
right? He's just a guy, which is one of the things I think is fascinating.
Yeah, he's a guy who uses his brain and just has a strong will.
He's
That's
a
really all he
guy
is.
in a rubber rodent costume.
He's a guy
Right,
who throws people down very strange looking map paintings.
right.
That's the only real kill I think Batman does. Like
Yeah,
on screen.
the rest are indirect. Nolan's
Yeah.
are Nolan did a much better job at that. The Nolan films really don't have any
I mean, yeah.
anything close to a direct kill. People die because of Batman, but it's never like Batman killed anyone.
Yeah, people like to say like, oh, Bale killed a church full of ninjas, but there's a few things there where, hey, if they're ninjas, they can get out of that situation.
Right, right, right. And he's
And
not. He's
also,
also not
he
directly
didn't do it to
responsible.
kill those ninjas. He did it as a distraction.
And that was before he was Batman too.
Yeah,
You know, so that there are workarounds for that. This one, I mean, he just directly killed that guy. Like that guy was murdered. Which, once again, like I said, in a good story, Batman can kill. I don't care. I don't care if Batman kills in a good story.
I am very anti-kill. I think there's certain exceptions to that, but a majority of the time, like 95% of the time, I'd say anti-kill. This scene where Batman just beats the hell out of Joker is so funny.
It's great. It's an incredible scene.
It might be my favorite Batman Joker scene on film, and I love Heath Ledger and Christian Bale,
Oh, I agree. I do too.
and like I think their scenes are probably better. Like they're better written and maybe better acted, definitely. But like as far as Batman versus the Joker, just as a fight, as what the two characters represent, this is so great.
It's also very Killing Joke.
Yeah, very. But like the Joker punching the abs and pretending to break his fingers and then pulling out the glasses.
Yeah, it's great. I really really like it. This whole scene.
The glasses line always gets me.
It's one of the things that I also like about it is his Keaton's Batman feels so natural, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that he's not doing like a fake voice or trying. It's just it's a little deeper or whatever. He's doing a little bit of a growl to his voice, but he just
The
feels so.
the
He actually made it a bit
transitions,
deeper.
the transitions from like creature-ish
Uh-huh.
to like just like a guy is like really neat because like there's some scenes like the opening scene like where he's is like the creature of the night, but you have this where he's talking normally,
It's
like
also
being
such
sarcastic, and
it.
it's like it's neat.
it's such an incredible, it's such a smooth transition too. It's not like just an abrupt like change of character.
Right,
It's
because it
just
still feels like the same guy.
it's such
Yeah.
a smooth thing. Also, if you look at any scene when Batman's on a green screen, his logo is black and white instead of yellow.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they could figure out how to chroma key out just green, and I think it was chroma keying out his chest logo.
I
They did the
I like
same thing
that
with
Joker
R2D2
calls him
in A
Batman.
New Hope, by the way. If you look, because they shot that on a blue screen, and so they had to make R2D2 black and silver instead of blue and silver.
Yeah. I just saw it there. You could see a little bit.
Yeah, it
when
was
he's
really
running
it was really noticeable in the Batwing earlier. I just didn't have a chance to mention it.
Sometimes I just kill myself.
I think I really like it with the white.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like the gray on
Yeah.
it. That's I don't know. I think we're taking all the color out of the bat suit always now. I don't like
Yeah.
I don't like the black belt that we've seen lately. I far prefer the gold or my favorite blue variations of the
Yes,
belt.
we know, Dalton, you like blue over gold.
I do. I prefer blue over gold. But I don't like the gray, but I don't mind it on the oval logo.
Yeah.
It would
know,
it would look neat with a rebirth style.
I like the Rebirth logo a lot.
I do too. I'm saying a gray rebirth style logo would look really neat.
Yeah,
But then that would just blend into the suit.
yeah,
That's an
yeah.
excellent point. Unless you did like like an
a
inline,
live action version.
right?
Also, so Tim Burton was like, in talking about Joker's fall, he was like, "There's a few scenes of technological failure, and that's one of them."
Uh huh.
I love how Tim Burton hates his own movies almost as much as like just he hates himself.
The the miniature here is probably the worst one in the movie, and it's still great.
What the one of them hanging?
Yeah. It's a miniature helicopter and a miniature building, miniature version of the church.
The the part where the Joker's like the chattering teeth are laughing even after his death, that like used to freak me out as a kid.
That is a chilling scene. It's absolutely incredible and one of my favorites in the movie. Also, the velocity of this would totally kill them, even though they didn't hit the ground. It would just kill them from shocking their body, but that's cool. Do whatever you
You know,
want.
apparently there was a scene, according to the guy who plays Commissioner Gordon, Pat Hingle, they filmed the scene where after the Waynes get shot, Gordon like comforts Bruce,
Interesting.
and this was before, to my knowledge, any major comics did that.
Yeah.
This would have been pre year one, so I guess.
Yeah, like the idea of
That would have
exploring
made
Gordon.
Gordon not boring.
This
But
is the
then
worst
again,
version
I
of
wouldn't
Gordon.
do that because there's no interaction between Gordon and Bruce later.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's not really setting up anything.
Gordon.
This is the worst Gordon we've
Very
seen.
much so a background character.
Yes. He's useless, which is fine. That's just what these movies do. We don't need
He's
Gordon.
useless.
He's not. Oh, there's another statue. He doesn't matter.
Down.
It's topical. Oh, there's Knox again.
Everyone's favorite. Who's your favorite Batman character? I love Knox.
He's coming back with Michael Keaton for Flashpoint.
I want to get Bob the Goon, Alexander Knox, all these like useless characters, put them all in a pot.
We're gonna raise Bob the Goon back from the dead.
We're gonna bring Michael Goh back from the dead. We're gonna
Yes.
bring Kim Basinger back from the dead. I don't know if she's dead yet.
I don't think she's passed.
What about
Not to my knowledge.
what about
I don't
Bob
think she's doing
Kane's
anything
wife? Are
these
we gonna
days.
bring her back from the dead?
Wait, who?
We're gonna bring Bill
Bob
Finger
Kane's
back
wife.
from the dead. We're gonna
Oh yeah,
give
we're
him
definitely
proper
gonna
credits.
we're gonna give him proper credits for sure. We're gonna like
Another
re-edit
thing.
this movie, Batman created by Bill Finger.
Once again, the logo on the bat signal should have been the '89 version of the logo.
But they haven't seen the Batman thing close up. They're just like, oh, it's a bad
They
guy.
haven't seen it close up enough to do that either. So, I mean,
No.
they haven't seen it close
They
up
saw
enough
it
for it to
painted
look
against the moon
just
while
like
people were dying.
right.
No,
That's
no,
it.
what if
That's
they
all
made
they
that
saw.
out of the Bob Kane drawing from the beginning? Remember?
Oh yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
What if it was just? What if that was the bat signal?
What if it was just Bob Kane's face?
Oh yeah.
I love how this movie and Batman Returns in the exact same way with a love interest that never comes up ever again. Also, we're in America in this movie, right? Alfred is still driving a British car. So the
Right.
steering wheel's on the wrong
But
side of the car.
you can take the British guy out of the UK, but you can never take the UK out of the British guy.
I guess it's an older car. But it's interesting that this it ends it's almost like the reverse of the ending of Returns.
Yeah,
Right.
'cause the ending of Returns is a Catwoman like popping up and seeing the
Right.
bat signal.
Which wasn't supposed to happen, but and then she just doesn't come back up again. Just like Vicky Vale won't come up. I mean, she'll be mentioned. Also, is it just me or do the ears on the bat suit here look really short?
Let me go back.
I'm gonna have to go back too.
What an incredible movie.
Yeah, they are really short. Maybe it's just like.
It's definitely just the chroma key effect, but
Right.
If you see the logo, that's just cut out entirely.
Yeah. Incredible movie. Just, I guess, the best way to summarize it is
Product of its time.
it's a product of its time, but it's a good product of its time. You know,
Yeah.
There's a few things that are very dated, but they all work in the movie's favor. The movie is better for all of the dated moments, and we're going to be doing another one of these at some point soon for Batman Returns. Which is a whole nother animal entirely. So this movie was, it was successful enough to get a sequel, and we'll talk about that next time we do one of these. But yeah, I this is every time I watch it, I watch this movie and I think, man, this is the best Batman movie, and then I watch The Dark Knight and I think the same thing, and so I really can't decide. But I do. I love this. I grew up. Well, I grew up watching the Schumacher films and then moved on to this one, but it's such
But it's iconic. It's fantastic. Everything amazing about this film has stayed amazing the 30 years since it's come out.
it's timeless. It's a dated timeless
It really
movie.
is. Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah. You've seen it. You've seen it.
Yeah,
Even
Colin,
if you
have
haven't
you seen
actively
it?
watched it, you've seen clips of it. You've seen its inspiration. You've seen its reiterations.
Colin, have you seen the movie?
This is my first time, definitely. I've actually never heard of Batman ever.
No,
I
but
only know of Robin.
we wanted to show this because we know that you're a fan of Alexander Knox, and we thought we'd show you his origin story.
Yeah, his comic books are my favorite, and seeing him brought to life in this film, which is really heartwarming.
Well, he was brought to life at first in Crisis. These are just the further adventures of Alexander Knox.
Right.
The Alan Moore Knox one is one of my favorites. The Dark Knox Returns.
It was beautiful. All right, I guess
the
it's
Killing Knox.
The Killing Knox.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. on
Justice
this
League
commentary track.
Apocalypse.
Sign us off.
All right.
The Knox cut. I can't
Yeah,
wait
the
for
Knox
it.
cut. Plug your stuff real quick.
Bob and Colin on Instagram. I post my lame art and costumes and things.
He posts better art than both of us
Yeah,
combined.
it's very annoying. Josh, you can follow you over at Brit Edit on Instagram, and you can follow me over at Barrett Digital. We'll see you on the next either episode of the podcast we do or commentary track. It'll probably be a commentary track. We got some exciting stuff coming up. But this has been the Batman '89 commentary track, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.